Welcome to the Profit Share Mastery Podcast with your hosts, Linda and Press McKissick.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Profit Share Mastery Podcast. I'm Linda McKissick.
I'm Press McKissick.
Hey, Press. Long time no see. What, 24 hours?
I know. We've been with each other for a while. We were just at the Maxwell conference, and now we're here at doing an awesome episode of Profit Share Mastery.
Yep. And we had Leadership Academy yesterday. So super fun stuff. But I'm super excited about our guest today. So Press, why don't you introduce Heather for us?
I would love to. We have the one and only amazing Heather Fisher, and Heather has an incredible story. I'm not going to spoil all of it. I'm going to let her kind of share her journey with you. But if I can tell you, if you are one of those people who sits around and thinks about profit share and is like, that's great for other people, but it doesn't work for me, I think Heather's story is going to touch you today. And so I'm really excited about her getting to share her journey. So Heather, thank you for being on, and tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me today. Well, I didn't start out ever thinking I'd be a realtor or in real estate. But I've actually been in real estate in more of an admin and ops role since 2002. So it's been quite a while. I was with another team and with another brokerage for most of that time. And in 2019, I joined a new team, and they happened to be at Keller Williams. I was seeking the team, not what brokerage they were with. So I've been with Keller Williams since 2019, and just love so much about everything, the mindset and the growth that is here.
And so just to kind of clarify on that, Heather, you have your license, but you predominantly perform in an operational role, and you have since 2002, correct?
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So again, kind of thinking through profit share, a lot of times, Linda, you and I talk to, when we're talking to an agent, that's the person who typically thinks profit shares for them. The administrative, the ops role on a team doesn't typically look at profit share as an opportunity that they would go after. So Heather, you kind of came into our profit share world about 6 months ago or so, maybe even a little bit less than that. So kind of talk about that journey and what led you to even think profit share was something that you wanted to go after and could go after.
So when I've been with Keller Williams for 3 years, and I'm on a team that, our leaders talk about the opportunity that profit share has. And I've heard Linda speak here in our office about it. So it was on my radar before really jumping into it, but it was kind of, because I'm on the ops side and I'm doing mostly team side, I'm not even doing like TC. I have very little interaction with other agents outside of our office. And a lot of the tips or suggestions are, look for where their value gaps are and all of that. And it makes complete sense, but I would have to just call someone out of the blue that, doesn't know me, or, the same few people I know from my previous office all the time. And so that always felt strange and awkward to me, even though I could see how it was great. I didn't see how it fit. So when you introduced the recruiting websites on Facebook, Press, I saw it, and my team leaders and I were texting, we should, see who on our team this would be a fit for. And I responded with emojis with my hands raised, saying I wanted it to be, that I wanted to do it. And I'm lucky enough to be on a supportive team that, said, go for it. Let's build this. And that's where I'm at.
So I have a question, Heather, for you real quick. Most realtors even aren't always on the front end thinking about long-term building wealth and passive income. And yet you said even from the very beginning, hearing it, it kind of sparked an interest to you. Is there a particular reason why, or had you already thought about, how do I create wealth and passive income, or how did that whole interest in the beginning even happen with you?
Gosh, so I would say my motivators are definitely financial security versus like big life, boats or big houses and things don't really drive me. But I was a single mom for a lot of years and, just had to do a lot of building personally, financially, to recover from some things. And really, for me, I'm behind the 8 ball on building, retirement where I want it to be and, not working in a place that's, an industry that is building that. So I think any opportunity that you can build your wealth or just your security around that, that appeals to me. And I just want to make sure I'm taking care of my family. That's just kind of where I'm at with that.
Awesome. Love that.
That's great. So you see the post, you talk to your team, Rainmakers, and I want to give a shout out because you have amazing leaders.
Yeah.
And if for those who are listening on a call, if you have a team, what Heather's about to share with you from a retention standpoint, from an opportunity standpoint, from your people's perspective is huge. So I couldn't, we couldn't do this podcast without giving your amazing leaders some kudos because they are giving you space and some opportunity to be able to go after this. And that is the signs of an amazing group of leaders.
Yep.
Yes, 100%.
So you're like, you raise your hand and you decide you're going to be the one to do it. What happened next?
We went through the process with you to, build the website, and it launched, and then I cried because it was crazy and overwhelming. So it was a flood. I think I was in at the beginning stage, before there were more people doing it. So the lead volume at first was crazy and it was very overwhelming, and just jumped in for a few weeks doing whatever you told me to do, Press. Yeah.
And
that's
so
pretty good problem to have when you're there's too many, it's working too well, right? I'm loving to hear all the stories, but yes, you do have to try to figure out how to dial it back if it's a little bit.
That first couple of weeks takes a minute to get your bearings and figure out what you're doing. And it feels overwhelming because you're getting all these notifications of leads coming in, but part of the benefit of the system is that it actually weeds out the ones, and the majority of the people who come in are never going to do anything. And so you kind of have to know that in the back of your head and understand that the system's going to push them into the right next step. So you jumped in and you started having calls with people. So talk about what have your results been since you jumped in and started recruiting?
Yeah, so I think I've added 20 people to my downline.
Oh, that's amazing.
I started the year with 0, and that's where I'm at currently, which is awesome. I mean, what an opportunity. It's definitely a long-term thing. I don't think you can go into profit share, expecting immediate anything. I've made a lifetime earnings of $44 so far. So, it doesn't change the world right away, but I mean, it's just such an opportunity to stick with it and build it.
Yeah, that's it. And it will come, right? When we talk about Nick's results, it's slow, right? And I had to keep continually telling Nick, like, Nick, just focus on the next person. And eventually what happens is you start to feel it compound and grow. So that's amazing. Remember, Linda, you remember when Mo used to tell everyone, go get 15 people in your downline. Like that was the number.
15 people in the front line, and she'd say, that's what you focus on first.
Yeah. So what's amazing is, Heather, in such a short time, you went from 0 to 20.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did just see this week that someone that I added to my downline in the summer added someone to their downline. So that was exciting to get my first person in my second line. So
that's so
and
cool.
Yeah. And I talked with that person, it's someone I don't know in another state, but I talked with him and said, let's go get some more. So it's just fun.
That's exciting. This is exciting, Press.
So cool.
So Heather, kind of give us an idea of how does it work? I know if people are out there and they're thinking about what a great opportunity and a gift for their ops person, how does it work with your schedule and stuff? And I'm sure you're able to still keep your job done and all that stuff, but tell us logistically kind of how that works in a day for you.
Yeah, I mean, I try, most of it is outside of my normal, what I would say, like 8 to 5 team role. I time blocked my appointments for calls are outside. I do like 5 to 7 open 3 nights a week, and Saturdays I try to have a couple hours open. So I'm not really doing any of it during my work day. And then during those time blocks, I try to do follow-up calls. If leads come in, if they're the experienced leads, I have a text that I send right away, with my calendar appointment. And if they haven't set an appointment by the end of, my work day, then I'll call them then and reach out. So I think that someone could grow even more and do more with more time. I am keeping it for myself. I mean, it's a side thing. It's not my full-time job, and I have a lot that I do, during my work day. So yeah, I catch calls if I'm trying to reach a team leader and they call me back, or sometimes if I just can't talk to someone any other time, like Press said, I have awesome team leaders that want me to grow this, so I'll do it then. But most of the time it's just outside in my time blocked time, and my husband is understanding and does that, and I've got a teenager at home that's on the go all the time, so I just fit it in.
That's awesome.
In those hours at the end of the day.
And one of the things I want to highlight, Heather, you were on a mastermind call that we do, and you kind of like said it so fast that people thought it didn't think much of it. And I made you go back and explain it deeper because it was a really big thing. Typically, we're coaching people to have between 20 minutes and 30-minute phone calls with recruits. And when we had you on the mastermind, you're like, oh yeah, I do recruiting calls in 10 minutes. And I'm like, whoa. Go back to that. You do what? And we talked a little bit about how you do a recruiting call, because I think it's amazing. And I think a lot of times we think we have to give everything to someone, and you're proving that that's not necessarily true. And you have a specific role involved in this. And so talk about your 10-minute recruiting calls.
Yeah, I think that stems from what I didn't know when this launched, but the appointment, booked calls every 15 minutes and they were stacking up. So I was just like, I got to hurry. So it kind of wasn't a plan. It just went from that at the beginning when it was crazy. And then the second thing is being on the ops side and working on a team. I wasn't recruited to Keller Williams and go through meeting with the team leader and being explained, the cap structure. And I wasn't explained, I never had those meetings because I was brought onto a team. So I don't know how to speak around those very well. I don't have that experience personally. That's not what my role is. So probably part of that was stemming from not knowing those things to say. And so I didn't really want to get into big questions, answering all of those specifics and give wrong answers, especially working with people all over the country in different market centers. I can only speak to what I know from ours. So I gear my call much more towards just asking them what brought them to real estate, what their goals are, what they are looking for, and just tell them, that I'm going to be the person to connect them with the right people and get, an in-person appointment coordinated for them so they can get all their questions answered. And I just try to ask them more questions and speak to, mindset and next steps, because that's just more the person I am, is, speaking on those things is much more comfortable to me than, someone's business plan or those things.
That's awesome. It's actually better that you don't know all that stuff, Heather, because we tell, look, that's not your role. That's really the team leader's role, and no one can know every area and all the details. So it actually works out in your favor, obviously. And the other thing, Press, that I've noticed that I really love, and Heather kind of alluded to it, is I love how we are starting to build a one team with our team leaders. And I'm hearing such great stories of how well most team leaders are responding to this. And I love that, because it puts us all on the same side. It puts us all working for the same common goal of bringing people and changing their life by bringing them to an amazing company. And I honestly, I'm enjoying hearing that and seeing that on the Facebook page and everything else. But I have one real quick question. Does your husband understand, like, passive? What is his thoughts about this profit share thing? I always love to hear outside people. Sometimes they get it even at a higher level than our own people do sometimes.
Yeah, I think he's I know he's super supportive of me, and he is excited for me because, I'm doing it, and we're newly married. So, we're in the throes of, building our life together, newly anyway. So it's constantly, as we're building, just different plans for where our family's going, that was a conversation over the last few years, outside of this. So he's just excited and supportive of me doing it. And yeah, it's good.
That's awesome. Does he have a job where he has any kind of retirement benefits or anything?
Yeah. Just more standard 401k.
Awesome. Love this.
That's great. So Heather, if I'm listening today, and this will be the last question, we'll kind of wrap up, but if I'm listening today and I'm like, wow, I want to be like Heather, like I didn't think this was an opportunity that I could go after, but now hearing your story, I do. What last pieces of advice would you give to someone who wants to go after building passive income through profit share?
I would say it comes down to everything that is the same about our industry. It's about follow up and time blocking time to do it. The actual process isn't hard. People are, in this case where it's people just getting licensed, for the most part, they're looking for their home, to start their career. So that part's not hard. And Keller Williams is awesome. So that part's not hard. It's just doing it and following up and going from there, see where it goes.
Yeah. And Heather, that's the piece I know that you really thrive at is the follow-up. So I know I said that was our last question, but I have to follow up with one more. Can you just share a couple pieces? Because you, from what I hear and from what you've shared with me, you're doing a great job on the follow-up side. Any tips, secrets, successes? Like what's the secret to success with follow-up with recruits?
I don't know. I mean, you just need to be the person that is bringing them their next step. And also, I've met really awesome team leaders that are great at follow-up. And then there's others that, don't call or whatever. So I just try to always be asking, did they connect with you? Did they, okay, I'll bug them again or whatever. And just make sure that next step happens instead of just assuming that it will.
Yeah.
And then when they tell me something, oh, my exam is this date, or, oh, I'm meeting with them on Wednesday, I just note all of that on my own calendar so I can reach out before or after, good luck, or how did it go, or I don't know, just.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, and I know something that I thought about when you shared this with me last time was you're basically their biggest cheerleader. And you also don't drop the ball on, which you said this, you don't assume that things were going to happen. You follow up to make sure that they've happened. And I think those two things, being consistent, making sure that things are, when someone says they're going to meet with them, you follow up to make sure that happens. And then you just cheer them on. You get excited when they do something exciting, like pass their exam or meet with the team leader. Like those are all exciting steps in a recruit's journey to joining a real estate company.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly stumble at that as well. And I've, dropped the ball and missed following up with people and it's a learning process, but I think that's the basics. When you do that well, then the results will come.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I'm curious, Heather, I've heard from some people, which we didn't prepare anybody for this. I know one of our guys on our team immediately got some existing agents, and the system is set up for people who are getting ready to get their license and get into real estate. But have you had any existing agents answer your ads, or agents that are already licensed?
Yeah, I have a lot of people. Most of the people that come in, just passed their exam. So they're licensed, but haven't been with a brokerage yet. And then I've maybe talked to, I don't even know what number to put on, but people that have been licensed maybe a year or two and just not really full time yet with another brokerage. I think one of the people that's in my downline now, she had been with a brokerage as her full-time job for about 9 months and just really wasn't getting training and things like that. And she moved to Keller.
Awesome.
Everybody else, I think, has been just brand newly licensed.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Great.
Well, we can't wait to keep hearing your success. And if it makes you feel any better, my first check was 78 cents. So at least you could maybe get a half a tank of gas. I probably couldn't have even gotten a candy bar at that time. So you just got to have faith in the system. Let the system that you have do the work, and you do the main things, which is the follow up and being their biggest cheerleader, and just trust the system will do the rest, and the time on task. It's not a get rich quick thing. It is a long play, but it's certainly well worth it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. The opportunity that you guys provide and the encouragement is awesome.
Awesome. We love it. Press, any final thoughts?
No, I just think Heather's awesome. And I think it inspires. We talked about this, Linda, before. People would look at Linda and say, I'm not Linda McKissick, so I can't grow my wealth. Well, now it doesn't. We've lowered the barrier, right? Now, anyone who can carve out the time to do it has the potential to do it. And so I think that's what's amazing about this process. And Heather, thank you for trusting and doing the work, and 20 people in your downline is an amazing success. So keep it up.
Yep. Keep changing lives. Keep changing lives. And remember, if you have not hit the subscribe button, please go ahead and do that now. And we would love for you to share this podcast with anybody at Keller Williams that you believe needs to hear more and listen more about profit share. And if you have a guest who has a great profit share story, please be sure and reach out to us and let us know that, because we would love to feature them on our profit share mastery podcast. And just let's keep this message going, and let's, number one, change lives, and at the same time build wealth while we're doing it. So Heather, thank you again, and Press, I'll see you next month.
Awesome. See ya. Thanks, Heather.